This is a Clouds Weather Alert.
Hey everybody, good late Tuesday, early Wednesday, meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center, giving you a look right now at that Doppler perspective across the southeast really. I know we don't have it in winter mode, there is winter weather on the fringes of this, but we do have a severe risk here that kind of stands out. So you see that yellow area there on the map, well that is your risk here for later on this Wednesday of some severe weather concern. We have to be really careful here as we're looking toward parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle, especially, and even in North Georgia too, because there could be some organized severe activity, including some isolated tornadoes. And it's not out of the question we could even get a strong one or a couple strong tornadoes within all of that. So just be mindful there. I know we actually had a very rogue tornado there without any official warning toward Pensacola back on that Tuesday. No watches or warnings in play, but we ended up having an apparent tornado causing some damage there right in North Pensacola and Escambia County. So just have to remain alert. Always, have to be aware. I know this type of pattern tricky sometimes that we were dealing with on that Tuesday to kind of warn the tornadic activity. So just couldn't get that warning out. But the threat on Wednesday may be a little bit easier to identify. Could also be more substantial, and it could be a local threat here on Thursday. That's why we have the logo red to some degree, and then we're just going to be watching here toward the weekend. Another threat out to the west that could be even more substantial than this one that kind of tries to hang together here toward our area. So that Saturday to the west, Sunday in our area as well. So, a couple rounds, maybe even more next week as we get later into the week of some severe concern to mind that logo red for a little while here. So just stay aware here of the dangers as we're kind of looking at things, as we're kind of tracking the overall scenario here. And let me go ahead and put on the screen right now. I know those tornado safety tips, they're really, really important here as we're looking at things. So there they are. A tornado watch means conditions are favorable for tornadic activities. You want to stay tuned for the latest information. You have in these type of situations that method here where you have multiple ways to receive alerts. Then with a tornado warning issue, that means one's been detected using radar actually visually spotted. So you want to seek shelter inside a sturdy building. Get as many walls between you and the outside as possible and protect yourself from flying debris by putting on a bicycle helmet. So important stuff here as we're looking at things, as we're tracking the scenario. I know. Let me go ahead and switch back on over right now to some more other technology that would include that radar map. It looks like we have a severe thunderstorm warning just popping up in Texas right now. With some of this activity, it's kind of cool out there, so it's more just for hail as we're looking toward an area like Lee County, Texas. So interesting to see that on the map here. Sign of things to come in terms of warning boxes. Now, be more about wind and tornado further off to the east. This is that tornado risk in the yellow that is more substantive. In the green, it could happen, and some of this could extend more into the overnight Wednesday into early Thursday in the eastern part of this. I know the energy, some of that will be with the overall dynamics a little bit further to the north. That's why our threat here locally in Tallahassee and southwest south central Georgia is there, but it's lower than it is further off to the north. You see the hail risk, not so much, and the wind risk, though, is there as well. And talking about the colder weather, there is some winter accent to this. So you just have to be kind of mindful of that. You see in toward Oklahoma some mixed precip right now, and in toward Kansas snow, and a sign of things that come for areas like Missouri as we look ahead and toward the timeline. So definitely something to watch for them. And I know DC's been getting hammered with a lot of snow over in that area around Washington DC. That winter weather, a story. There's been some ice in areas like Virginia as well. And these type of patterns, that's a possibility, and that's what we've been seeing. So definitely worth noting there. Even a good bit of snow in New Jersey there. You see 5 inches plus there, and towards some areas up that way. As we look back locally, though, let's go ahead and take it out of winter mode. And we'll go ahead and put on the fog here. As I know we have a dense fog advisory in play for parts of our area right now. Coastal Nassau, inland Nassau, Brantley, coastal Camden, coastal Glen, inland Camden, inland Glen, under that until 7 a.m. So another night of some of that around. It's been really prominent here lately, so gotta be really careful on the roads. It can be deadly. If you're not taking it seriously, you gotta leave, a good bit of room between you and the car in front of you to avoid an accident there on an interstate. If you're not doing that and that speed that, maybe you're going can really catch up with you quickly, and that could lead to a very serious situation. So it can be life-threatening as we're looking at things. Now, as we look ahead toward, we say to the Wednesday outlook before 7 a.m. Now, after 7 a.m., as we get toward that Thursday, you see a marginal risk of severe weather. I think we'll have to be paying attention a little bit further off to the east, quite honestly, with at least a low-end risk. I'm talking about maybe about Lake City westward is where I'm thinking, and I may even get a slight risk in here for like Tallahassee and Albany based on what I've seen with the model guidance here. I know some of the more prominent parameters may go north, but I think there'll be enough lingering concern here, maybe tornado watch for like Tallahassee, Albany, westward, give or take, and then at least a marginal risk to about Lake City. So I think this might be underdone a little, but it kind of depended on how things play out here on this Wednesday first, further to the west. I think we could even have, again, I think it's underdone a little for areas out toward like New Orleans to southern Mississippi, southern Alabama. We could have some strong tornadoes over that way, isolated EF2 plus tornadoes. So that means more concern there as we're looking at things. You see EF2 there means considerable damage. So got to be aware of that as we're looking at things. And then as we look here toward the next 7 days, that's not the only round of a threat here. We have another threat on that Saturday further to the west that could be pretty substantial. Similar areas to what I was just telling you for today, but it could be a little bit heightened in terms of that risk. And then as we look toward that Sunday, it could be some of that risk hanging around in our area. It could be a little bit higher and could even, depending on how things set up, at least impact the Daytona 500 with some rain there and some delays on that Sunday. I know FSU baseball and college baseball in general getting underway could have an impact on different games across the region as we look ahead towards Sunday, maybe moving some of those around, maybe playing doubleheaders on Saturday. It's hard to say, just depending on how we look at things. There could just be, a delay for a little bit as we kind of get a better look at that here in or the future. I know last year, that Sunday, it was a complete washout. The whole weekend was a mess, quite honestly, with the rain, and I was sick. But besides that, just that whole weekend, that President's Day weekend, that weather pattern, it was very rainy, very dreary, and the like there for a good period until we got to that Monday and things were able to clear out enough for that race. So Daytona 500. But as you look here toward like Tennessee, look at all that rain there. You gotta watch out western North Carolina after Helene. It could be a little bit easier to flood in some of those areas there, as we'll see several inches expected. You see North Georgia and north and central Alabama, north and central Mississippi, with a risk here as well toward Tallahassee. 2+ inches is possible now as well. We do have at least a lower end flash flood risk for part of our area here, as some of this could kind of take its time moving through here locally as we look ahead into toward the timeline. And you see toward like Stark, toward like Jacksonville, talking about a lot less rain, but hopefully enough to kind of put our drought concerns, down a little bit for the time being. And could have more rain past the 7 days as well here. Could have a risk of midweek next week as well. As I know, you can go to clutter.com/radar for an interactive look at things, if we're on the air or if we're not on the air. So something to kind of keep in mind, as we always are on for any tornado warning storm in the 62 counties. I mean, it wasn't in our area, the Escambia County tornado situation on that Tuesday, but, that's something you always got to be aware of. It doesn't mean, even if we're not on the air, it doesn't mean there's not a tornado. If there's no warning, generally, we're probably not going to be on the air. So you got to keep that in mind. Got to always be aware of your surroundings here and just the meteorology and the radar and the like. But, obviously been on for every official tornado warning here in our area for the last 5+ years if a storm's moving through one of the 62 counties, at least one of the 62. Some of them have moved through a lot of 62, but we're always keeping our eyes out for things on all those different platforms there, of course. And then let me go ahead and see now those fog safety tips. So that fog around again on this Wednesday morning ahead, and so you want to slow down and give yourself extra time to reach your destination. Make sure your vehicle is as visible as possible to other vehicles. by using your low beam headlights and leave plenty of room between you and the vehicle in front of you. So hazardous driving in those conditions, definitely possible due to low visibility. As we go ahead and show you now that extended forecast for the next 7 days. 20% chance of rain on that Wednesday, 70% on that Thursday. So going up, higher rain chances to the west and to the north versus the east and the south. Kind of saw that in the rainfall forecast. Severe threat would be much lower towards like Stark. I think really, from Lake City West, even though you're not under the risk until you get, closer to Tallahassee, I'd still be watching because we could have some mornings Lake City West and, Waycross could even have some mornings depending on how things hang together. I don't think we're going to really have mornings unless something really does something unexpected, where like Stark, Gainesville, Jacksonville, but it's not completely out of the realm, so we'll watch it. But Lake City West on Thursdays where I'm paying attention here, and especially Tallahassee, Albany, where we could even have like a tornado watch. And then you see Valentine's Day on that Friday, have that pinkish purple color there, and you see a 20% chance of rain, so not too much of a rain chance there on that day. 70 for your high temperature, 54 for your low temperature is what I'm expecting here generally, above average for now. You see towards Sunday, a stronger system coming our way. Could be, more intense with severe weather towards Saturday further west, and then toward area we have a risk, further east here with this one. And we'll have to see how the Daytona 500 could be impacted. 75 for the high. As we're looking at things, I know that system last year was longer, in terms of the timeline with it, but it was more just rain. It wasn't a severe threat. But as you can see here toward Monday, 5% chance of rain for President's Day, but much cooler. We were alluding to it in the description. 60 for the high, 39 for the low. As we're looking at things, so we could even have, depending on how the winds are, across your area, if they die down enough, some of our areas could see some frost here early next week. So in those morning hours, so we'll watch for that. So much cooler, not as much of the fog pattern that we've been, stuck with here for a couple weeks or so. I mean, we had that winter weather, all that snow around Albany, and then we just went to summer, it seemed like, or at least late spring. But now we kind of, regress back here a little bit to some cooler area. Probably want some of that to keep the grass from growing a little bit. But I mean, it may not help too much depending on where you're at here. We'll just have to wait and see, because it's going to be kind of, that lawn mowing season here pretty soon. But we need the rain, that's for sure, because we don't want to have drought concerns. We don't want to have wildfires. So, the rain chances and rain amounts, could actually lead to flooding further west in our area to the east. Probably not. But, so do you half inch, give or take, toward like Stark and Gainesville on average. So that's not a whole bunch, but hopefully that's enough to kind of give us, a little bit of wetness there to kind of help with things a little bit here in the period. And then we'll look ahead, past the Tuesday. You see that rain chance kind of going back up. Well, maybe Wednesday, give or take. Thursday next week, have another round of storms coming through, give or take. Could be longer period, with that. Could have more, of a, scenario here that's a little bit more extended out, but that's too early to get into. We still have 2 rounds to get through. First here locally, plus, we have maybe more intense weather further west that we may have to cut in for if it gets to, where we have some significant tornadoes up toward the west and the southeast. We'll wait and see on that. But we have the logo red. We're ready to keep you guys safe and informed as we're in alert mode now. We, we're watching things carefully. And that's tricky out toward what happened in Pensacola. We had a tornado. I mean, hadn't been surveyed yet, but I've seen video, the axe in there, and it was a tornado. I retweeted it there at Cloud Casey on Twitter/X, and it was a tornado for sure. No doubt about that. So that kind of makes me think that, with the perimeter not being there that much, and now they will be, that things could overachieve a little bit, especially west of our area here on your Wednesday. We got a couple warnings right now. Looks like for hail, though, one of them's actually in Burlington County, Texas. As I'm going to switch over to this. It's, 1:20 in the morning Central Time. And, of course, we're watching the EFSCO as well. But, here as we look toward, like, Burlington County, Texas, as we look at this, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in play there. Could have some wind risk there, too. So that's something to watch for. It's couple different weather services involved. So that's why I kind of have some weird boxes there. But one's the Austin, San Antonio, and one's the Houston, Galveston. So just kind of looking at things there. And then that risk on that Wednesday, though, in yellow, some of this could turn to orange here because the tornado risk could, get up there. This is the wind graphics. Let me see the tornado, which is probably can, I don't think, tell that much of a difference there. Maybe I'll kind of toggle between them. Yeah, you can't even tell the difference because it's the same area, but it looked like anyway at first glance. But New Orleans, Jackson there, Birmingham, Pensacola, over toward Atlanta, we could have some tornado watches here and even a rogue warning in that green on that Wednesday here. So, got to be kind of careful with this. Again, I think, orange area might get added. That might mean an enhanced risk, might mean a strong tornado or two. As we were looking at that EF scale, EF2 plus, not out of the question. So, stay tuned for the latest there. If we're not breaking in, if there's not anything in our area, if it's not just completely overwhelming, to the west, we probably wouldn't come on. But make sure you're following at NWS Tornado, I believe it is, on Twitter/X for all the latest information on all the watches and warnings that may get issued. And we tweet stuff, as necessary on Twitter/X at Cloud Casey as well, and post stuff and come on if we need to, depending on the overall magnitude. If it really goes up, I mean, we generally, talk about moderate tornado risk, which is a 4 to 5. Probably not going to get there on your Wednesday at least, or a tornado emergency. That's generally when we're coming on. We can always come on for a little bit something, a little bit lower than that, down to, concern scale. If we see something, that worries us. I know we had that tornado around Selma, Alabama we had to come on for with a stream a couple years ago with radar we had up and light. So just be kind of careful here. I have a feeling this could overachieve a little based on what I'm seeing further off toward the west. And of course, we'll be on for anything locally across the 62 county zone. We'll be watching toward the weekend as well. The holiday weekend where folks aren't paying attention. Could have another risk out to the west there, the Arkansas Mist, and, could be a little further up there, but north. But, that risk could be more substantial. So we need to be kind of careful here and pay attention. And that could, move toward our area. But we'll be watching and see how things progress, with the days to come here and the like. So always keeping you guys informed the best we can on the different platforms. Let me go ahead and start to wrap this on up here, folks, at this late hour. I appreciate you guys tuning on in. I appreciate you guys trusting me. I know, just trying to give you guys everything you need here in this set of circumstances to keep you guys informed on what's going on. Just checking everything here real quick. Let's go up to the north and west. You see here there is a discussion now about some freezing rain potential into Oklahoma. Let's see what they're saying. Hope it's heading overachieving, but it could be. They're saying precipitation, with the freezing rain is expected to develop across parts of Oklahoma. Some areas could get, at least with the rates, over a tenth of an inch per hour. Hopefully that's not all freezing rain. So we'll have to watch here. We'll have to watch that scenario carefully as we get over there. That, could overachieve. Radar starting to light up with a lot of lightning in that, mixed precip here as well. So that's impressive, not necessarily in a good way with all that. So that's, some thunder with some of that, either sleet or freezing rain. I can put on our METAR. Let's see what it's showing. So in snow actually, so it's thunder snow maybe in some of this in toward western Oklahoma. So interesting pattern here, and I'll be watching, the overall scenario as we look ahead into toward the timeline. But I think that's going to go and wrap it up for now. You see our temperatures, by the way. 66 Gainesville, 64 Jacksonville, 67 Tallahassee. So pretty warm for this time of year, but you saw the cooler air coming, but we have a couple, round storms to get through. And the days ahead first. I know, pretty warm out right now, so there's something to kind of keep your eyes on. That's going to do it for now. Let me go ahead and zoom back in, and I think we'll take it out of winter mode here and just leave this on up. I hope you have a great night here. I'll be back with more information late Thursday, unless we need to pop back in earlier, which I suspect, at least for the local accent, we probably will have to be on some we're on for most of the thunderstorm mornings as well. So I suspect we're going to have to go in between now and late Thursday with cut-ins. If it gets crazy here, we may not do a late Thursday update if we're on for just many hours on Thursday earlier in the day or something like that. But otherwise, the plan is to be back on late Thursday here with the latest information to protect you, your friends, your family. I know we'll be on here, if it's necessary for the national stuff on Wednesday as well. I see those severe thunderstorm warnings in Texas have gone away for the time being, almost 1:30 a.m. Central Time. But you see that risk area tornado threat ahead here later today. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, parts of Georgia, parts of Florida Panhandle area involved in this. So keep it tuned to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date.